Hey, my dogs be acting up. It's the third time I'm trying to record this. So I was talking with my team, meditating, and I was like, "What should I talk about today? Like, what's the message? What is the encouragement? What?" And encourage just like rolled off my lips. Courage, right? We are definitely in a need at this time in our lives individually and socially, and really, in many ways, worldwide, a need of courage. We need courage to, to sometimes just to face the day. But we need courage to be our real selves. We need courage to walk in our truth and in our light and in our love. We need courage to stand up for what is right and wrong. We need courage in a world that tells us that there's two sides to every story, that there's not a right or wrong, when we know that there is a right and there is a wrong. And sometimes it comes in shades of gray, and sometimes it's just very clear, right? What is right and what is wrong, and what is right in that moment. So the definition, thought I'm going to look up the word definition. The word, not the word definition, silly me, but the definition of the word courage. It said the ability to do something that frightens you, strength in the face of pain or grief. And then the full definition was the mental, moral strength to act despite fear, danger, or difficulty, involving perseverance, integrity, vulnerability, often for the greater good, rather than in the absence of fear. So it is not always that, most often even not the absence of fear that makes courage, but it is the acting towards something, the acting out of something, the process of doing something despite feeling fearful, despite being aware of the consequences that can come. And and so then I was like going through the cards and cleansing the cards and stuff, and two cards fell out right away. The first card was the Four of Pentacles, right? And the Four of Pentacles is usually has the energy of someone like holding on to what they have, someone pretending to be greater than they are, as in a self-imposed crown. But also someone who's paralyzed with lack of movement, right? Because they're trying to obtain to keep everything that they have. And so often what stops us from walking in courage is the fear of losing what we have, the fear of having to sacrifice something. And, and this is a time in our lives personally, and the time in our lives culturally, and worldwide, where the divine is calling us to be willing to let go of what we have for greater. Because when we let go of what we have, when we give to others, and when we give of our resources, and we give of our heart, and we give of our energy, we receive more from the divine, right? That's the whole infinity. You give and it comes back, give and it comes back, right? Comes around. But in this instance, we're focusing it for a specific area, right? The act of courage, the giving, and letting go of what holds us back from acting in courage, from speaking in courage, from loving in courage, right? And so often it's like the Four of Pentacles here, right? The holding on, that we've put ourselves in our mind, we have attained certain things, we have become certain people, and we're going to hold on to it. But we're being called to let those things go, to give them out, and to stand up, and to act, and to speak, and to live in courage of ourselves, And then the next one I got that fell out was the Seven of Swords. And you can look at this different ways. It's usually like a sneaky card, right? He's running out, he's getting stuff, and it's like, whether did he steal it or is he getting back what was his own? Is he being a coward and sneaky because he's stealing, or is he being wise, right? Because he's taken away weapons so that they can avert a war, right? Less he's saving lives by taking that away. But either way, right? It takes a little bit of courage. It takes courage to be crafty, right? But it also takes courage to have the forethought of, okay, how can I avert this situation, or how can I stand up to make this bad situation better? And we can think, like, in what areas of our lives are we being called? Can we see and have foresight that, okay, this direction, if it keeps going on this way, these things are bound to happen, and we step in and we make decisions, or we make calls, or we speak up, and kind of avert things. So then I drew 2 other cards that I haven't looked at yet. And one is the 6 of Cups, right? And the 6 of Cups is about, what do you call it? Like when you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, that was such a wonderful time. Those memories are so great. I cherish that. Like these times were better. These situations, or my dog is crazy, and she doesn't like when I talk on the phone. She doesn't like when I record. She got issues. But anyway, it's romanticizing the past, right? And when we can look and see, like, what, especially in our society, right? There's so much there. We look at all the stuff that's going on, right, in the world, and we can say politically, but it's really not politically when it's just not theory, but it affects our lives, right? So politics crosses over into real life when it impacts people, and it's not just politics anymore. It is real life. And so as Americans, we can often talk about, it's great to be an American. It is great to be American, but we can romanticize that, and we can talk about how great it used to be and how great it was. And I think there was a slogan, someone in power was like, let's make it great again, right? Great for who was always the question that most people didn't ask or didn't really care, right? Great for who again? Great for who, right? Because things were going fairly good for a lot of people, but not for everybody. But when we romanticize the past, we can have that perspective of, wow, it was really good back when women couldn't vote. It was really good, back when labor was free, because, the people who were doing all the labor didn't have to get paid. It was great. It was great back when, women didn't vote. It was great when people of color didn't have a vote, because we could control things, and the money didn't go very many places. So like, more people, how do I say this? Wasn't everybody that was wealthy, but people felt it, because there was a whole segment, a large segment in society, basically only Caucasian men had any worth and value on the books. So everything belonged to them, and they didn't have to divvy it out. Women didn't own anything. That's romanticizing the past. And so we are being encouraged to look at things realistically and see, like, what things in ways it really needs to change, right? How can we impact that? And on the people who are going to be listening to this are people who are people of change, people who are people of courage, people who are people of love, of empowerment, of truth, right? Of enlightenment, of closeness with the divine. You are the people, we are the people that will impact the world the most when we step out in courage, when we step out in truth, when we step out in power. Why? Because we're so connected. Not that we're better than than anybody else, because anybody can be connected. Everybody has the same access, has the same ability, the divine has the same desire to be close to everyone, but not everyone is going to step out on that. And so we are the people who can make the most impact because we choose to walk in love and to be empowered by it. And then we've got the Six of Pentacles. And the Six of Pentacles is about generosity. It is about giving and caring for our neighbors. It is about caring for the poor. It is about equality. It is about loving, right? Loving enough to give and to share of our resources, of our time, of our talent, of our effort, for the benefit, not just of ourselves and our family, but the benefit of everyone that we can impact in a positive way. The Six of Pentacles is anti-hoarding of our resources. It is anti-hoarding of our funds. It is making sure that everybody is able to eat, right? It is having generous hearts, right? With judgment. And so the divine is calling all of us, right, to stand up, to be men and women of courage, of action, of love, not because we do not fear, not because we don't we aren't nervous or we don't see things, but because courage is one of the few ways we're able to write things, right? We need courage to be able to write things. We need courage to face the truth. We need courage to be able to see that there is a right or wrong, or that there is a true and a false. We need courage to be able to stand up and to embody whoever it is we want to be like. You want to be like Buddha, you want to be like Christ, you want to be I don't know, like Muhammad. You want to be someone of integrity, someone who you admire, right? Those are typically people who had courage to do brave things, to stand up and to look out for the needy, for the poor, Mother Teresa, right? And we have that ability, we have that capacity, we have that light, we have that fire within us to do and be the same. And we are being called out to step out in that. I'm going to pull a few other cards. I got this cool Whispers of Why. Let's see if we can get a question or direction of something. So we'll get one of these. We'll get a butterfly. All right, let's see. Do you want to come out? All right, we will take you. We are going to get a butterfly affirmation for the end. And shall we do the fairy tale heroine? I don't know. Let's do star dragons. Oops. Oh, there you are. We will do green, right? Because green is energy of love. And love helps us to have courage, right? When you are fighting for people you love, when you are protecting people you love, when you are protecting something you love, when you are trying to provide for something you love, it gives you an extra bit of courage. And I think that's one of the challenges in society today, is that we are low on love. And when we have more love, we have more courage. You know, when we walk in love, we are able to have more courage to do things that we didn't even know we could do. Let's see. So, guys, if this has hit any chords in your heart, I said in your heart, and the heart card turns up right there. It says heart. You start to feel your heartbeat faster as you get closer. Oh, that's funny. So if you've been stirred in your heart, you know, or challenged, you feel it racing a little bit, maybe even you might feel a little bit offended, like, oh my gosh, who's this woman being all preachy? I'm not trying to be preachy. I'm just trying to speak and voice the heart of the divine in this area, right? Of courage. So if you're feeling weird, look into the depths of your emotions and find out why. Like, where is our love for each other, right? Where's our love for mankind. We can't turn a blind eye forever, especially those of us who desire to be people of light, walking in light and in truth and in love, trying to transform the world, trying to transform our own lives, right? We need to look in our emotions, and we need to be held to a true standard, right? We're not holding ourselves to the standard of the world. We're holding ourselves to the standard of the divine, right? And love is the standard. So if you're feeling challenged, look into the depths of your emotions, and you will start to feel your heart as your heartbeat. You will start to feel your heartbeat faster as you get closer and closer to the truth, right? Of what may be challenging you. What is it that you fear, right? What is it that, do you feel ridicule? Do you fear ridicule? Do you fear standing out? Do you fear sacrificing? Do you fear losing relationships? Do you fear looking silly or stupid, or people calling you woo-woo, or people, I know so many people in my industry. I talk to so many people every day that tell me they're like low-key not Republican. But you know what? They're not going to tell their friends that. They're just going to sit and listen to people, and nod. And when you have a different color skin, you're more melanated, you can't really do that. People aren't going to really always come out with their real hearts, what they really say. But when you don't have as much melanin in your skin, people will say a lot of stuff. And you may low-key pretend like you agree too, and so maybe that's one of your fears. But you got to see, like, do you love them enough to want them to help them be their better them? Not that they're wrong, but just to be their better them, to walk in light and to have less just angst and stuff going on in their lives, right? I don't know. I'm just saying. The butterfly affirmation: I have confidence in myself, and I am ready for everything that life offers me, right? Courage, confidence, right? I have confidence in myself. I have courage in myself. I am ready for everything that life offers me. So we can step out and be our true selves and stand up for love, right? All right, and so, like, why can we step out in courage? It says, because it's not about the outcome. It's not about the outcome, but it's about, and in the sense of it not being about the outcome. I saw this woman with a sign today, and it said something like, if we don't, even though they're kind of assassinating people right now, right? If we don't stand up now, right, then they will continue to get rid of all of us. So it's you can possibly have a bad outcome standing up for something you believe, or you can be quiet, but they're still gonna come. They're still coming, right? Unless we stand up, because it's not about the outcome. It's about what's right. In that sense, that's what this means. It's about doing what's right, not because you won't be hurt, not because you won't be ridiculed, not because you won't be scared, but because it's right. And when we do what's right in the moment, we are transformed and others are transformed too, and it becomes just a beautiful blossoming in our hearts. It says, remember that it's okay to be happy. Really, it is. And so even while we're doing things that take courage, we can still be happy. We can still laugh. We can joke. We can have fun. We can make friends. We can be lighthearted. We don't have to be serious and just like ogres, right? We can be happy people that stand up in courage and in love. And it says, find ways to lighten up and not to take everything so seriously. So, that's a good one to remember, especially when times are so intense, right? But how can we make something intense better, right? We can we can be generous. You know, we can be generous with our time. We can be generous with people around us. If we're gonna go meet up with a bunch of people, we can bring some extra gum. We can bring coffee or tea or whatever. We can just be giving, right? We can give to others. And my biggest thing is that there's so much focus on ourselves, on our own personal journey. And yes, we do need that focus, and we do need to have a high standard for that. But there's such a we really come close to being self-focused. We really have to watch out that we are not being self-interested in our spiritual lives, because if anything, that we all know is that we're all one. And so there's a time to go inward, and then there's a time to love outward. And we need the inward love and that foundation of being connected in our own roots and in our own hearts, and being connected with Mother Gaia, being connected with the universe, being connected with the Divine Mother and Father, in order to be able to give out. Just like a tree, its roots goes into the ground and it gets its own nourishment, right? It nourishes from the elements and all the minerals and the water and that is within the earth, within Mother, right? Planet Earth, Mother Gaia. And then it grows up and it grows out, and the leaves go out and the branches go out, and it gives shelter to the birds and to the squirrels and to all kinds of insects and all kinds of creatures, raccoons, and and then it gives food out, right, to the deer and to just whatever else. It gives shelter to the bobcats. It gives that tree does so much, right? But first it goes in and it gets centered and it gets its nourishment. And that is like us going in. We go in and we get solid and we love ourselves and we draw near to the divine and we reflect the love of the divine out, and we grow up and we go out and we give. And that is the purpose. It is the purpose of our spirituality, of our physical divinity with the divine, right? Connection is not just to give and to take and absorb and to suck, right? It is to do that and then to give out and to impact. And so the divine is saying that, calling us all to know that there is a time soon. It is time for us to give. We cannot get caught up in just always being self-focused. And yes, we live in a universe that is rich. And so we should all desire and expect to live prosperous lives. Why? Because we are born with that blessing, with that expectation that we can live lives that please us, right? But within that, we also are givers, and we're not just takers, and it's not just for us. This experience is for everyone. I'm going to pull maybe one more card, the Star Dragons. Let's see if the divine has an inspiration for you. I love these cards. Let's see if there is a dragon message for the courageous peoples. Maybe I'll let my dog out so you can see my crazy doggy. She's so sweet. She's rotten as heck. The other two doggies are being good right now. Let's see. Is there a dragon message for us? Alright. Ooh. Resilience. Finding your limits. That's fierce, huh? Let's see what it says about resilience and finding our limits. What number is that? 21. Do, 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 do. Okay. Oh, I opened right up to 21 and I'm looking all over the place for it. Oh, it's another language though. I don't speak that language. Milagro, transformation, illumination. I did not realize that this had like all these languages. Resources, time. I don't understand why this book is so complicated. Paulo? Oh wow, so many. Okay, sorry guys. I know you guys are like, can you please go get that dog? Okay, here we are. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for being okay with slowness sometimes. Finding your limits. Okay. It says, wisdom of the herald, enough is enough. There comes a time when the fire within burns brightly within intuition, shouting forth, it is time. Time we know when to quit. Baby, it's cold outside. Look within for that inner warmth and knowledge of self. Set your boundaries, know your limits, find what works for you right now. The outside world is irrelevant, and the entire universe resides inside you. Wisdom of the dragon. Limits were made to be surpassed and finished lines crossed. You know your limit, but after a certain point, you will reemerge to tackle a new challenge, stronger and better than ever before. You bounce back. You are resilient. It is time to push it to the limit and beyond. Setting boundaries and knowing your limit, when to say when, require a lot of self-reflection and meditation. Take time out of your day to establish what works for you. Listen to your inner voice. And once you have an established your stance and retreat to safety, you can bounce back better than ever with resilience, power, and grace. It is about retreating within and then getting right back on the playing field when the time comes. Be unstoppable. So basically it's saying that we need boundaries, right? And maybe that's what many of you were feeling as I was saying this. Wait, I got boundaries. I got my own life. I don't need to be speaking up. But the purpose of boundaries, right, are to protect ourselves, and then we bounce back, then we come back and we give more and we go further, right? So know your limits, know your boundaries, but know also that our journey is to nourish ourselves and then also to help nourish others, or to nourish. And I don't mean that in the sense that we're feeding everybody else, but we are there to help people feed themselves. We are there to be sometimes a placeholder, right? Sometimes someone just holding the hand and walking with someone else, but we are there to interconnect and to have impact together on the greater good of the world. So I love you guys. Thank you for spending this time with me. And I do hope that this inspires you and that it helps light a fire in some area in your life. All right. Much love. Thank you.